Hey, what happens when the West, I hate that word because this is these deceptive little pussies fucking running their mouths about some bullshit when they're occupying places all over the planet. This is the first, I mean, that's just a minor part of their deception. The West. Ah, we've conquered 1/4 of the world, but we're just in this little part called the West. But we're in the Middle East, and we're out east, and we're in the West, and we're in the South, and all this. And fucking, I'd call you what you are, but you're too busy fucking each other in the ass and getting mad at me about calling you people fuck each other in the ass. The fucking, and you ban the comment, you ban the video because I'm mentioning that you're fucking each other in the ass, and that's who you are as ass fuckers. Fucking each other's in the ass as males. Hey, it's okay if it's a male and female. When this nation is not males and females having sex and loving each other. And they hate each other in this nation, let me tell you that. The females have enslaved the males in this nation, and the males are definitely these people who should go get with another male so they can have a real relationship. But I'm sorry, I'm off track here, aren't I? The West. I hate this stupid word. Man, every time I hear these people want to say this, I want to shove a machete into their fucking face. Because this is part of their fucking KKK deception, their fucking supremacy delusion they have going on. They've lost. Okay, they've already lost, and that's what's going on. That's why they've had to shut the media down. They are about to implement, like the whole 2020 thing was them preparing for martial law, lockdown, and locking down everyone in the states. And then what they're going to do now is they're going to implement the draft, and they're going to force everyone into war because these evil people across the world they've been trying to kill and conquer have decided to stand up against them. Because they started 40 years ago. 40 years ago, the BRICS nation was set up. What is this? Brazil, Russia, India, is it South Africa? Is that what the S is? BRIC. Okay, China. And then S. What is the S? No, it can't be South Africa because the West has taken over the southeast nation called South Africa. So they're the West. And anytime anyone tells you that, you should just fucking, I'm telling you, bro, don't chop their head off because they have this system set up where if you chop their head off, they will come after you and put you in jail for a long time. Yeah. They were talking a lot about the South Africa stuff. So what is S again? Who cares? We have Brazil, Russia, India, China. The whole world has teamed up against this terrorist organization. And they've been doing this for 40 years, bro. And no one gives a shit about them outside of them. And they're so stupid. They don't even remember, like, they brainwash themselves to the point that they're not strong enough. They could be strong enough to defend against this, but they have not. They've delusioned themselves to this point where they do not realize that the rest of the world has teamed up against them to fucking tear them down. Because they know, the rest of the world knows that this West, yeah, is Israel in the West? Is Ukraine in the West? The West of what? The West of my fucking, the farts coming out of my asshole or something? I don't know. It's a delusion. See, they operate on a delusion, mind deception. They operate purely on mind games. Like, this is how they've won. They come to black people, and they tell the black people, hey, we'll give you, like, God has said we should conquer you, and we own this land. We'll give you $10 for it. And they're like, yeah, okay. Okay, so when this happens, the world has been preparing for this. So this is what's really happening in Russia. Is this video going to get me banned? Okay, all the videos where I talk about suicide, killing myself, and drugs, testosterone, what's happening. None of this is going to get me banned, but this right here, this is what they don't like. What's really going on in this world right now is everyone is preparing for war against this empire, and they have been for years. Since I was born, you guys don't even know. Even the older ones, the ones older than me, like my Uncle Ron, he doesn't remember the word BRICS. This is the world forming up against the West, the USA, Israel, South Africa, Australia. Australia is not to the west of anything. Australia is to the west of USA. Australia is to the east of everything. So the word the West itself is a deceptive tool. They are using mind games to control people. Just like they're censoring this internet right here. I can't get any information anymore. I haven't heard what's been going on in Israel in 2 years. And I don't really care about it anywhere else because apparently I believe under the ground of Israel that there is ancient technology that everyone in the world is after, and the leaders of the world, some of them might understand that there's some ancient technology that has been buried beneath this land. It's the center of the world, at the very least, even if they're not smart enough to understand that there's some ancient technology buried. And the ancient technology isn't going to help them because the real technology is the mind. The real control of this world is the mind, the computer. This crap right here, once I learn to control this fully, like I won't need a computer. Like I've experienced terrible situations outside of the computer. Like they have this nonsense. Russia's moving on the Ukraine. It's like, who is the Ukraine? Who just destabilized Kazakhstan? Someone just killed the government, the police in Kazakhstan, and this West. I hate this word. This globalist empire, because this is not the West. The West is a direction. If you understand science and math, there's north, south, west, and east. And if you're all over this place, you're not the West. You are all over the place. That's what's really going on. I'm trying not to say too much here. Trying not to get too banned. I got banned for nonsense. All these videos I put out about me killing myself and poisoning myself and showing you like scars on my body from like blood pouring out my body and all this stuff, that didn't get me banned. What got me banned was talking about politics, talking about certain things. I got a warning once on Facebook. They were like, "We're worried you're going to kill yourself." And it's like, no, dude. I've been trying to kill myself for like 30 years. So get over it. But that was like one warning. Verse all this other stuff. I can't even talk about some of the stuff I've seen. It just, man, I don't know where to begin. But the way I see it, we're 2 years into Armageddon. That means if prophecy is correct, we have 8 years left of the adversary's reign. The adversary will reign for 8 more years. And the Jews are very smart, so I do not, even though I thought they were enemies, I do not discredit them and their words. They have written these books that have spoken about what has happened, and it has happened. So get over it. Get over it if you don't like it. I've gotten over it. I'm the one who stood up against them, and no one else stood with me. So I'm going to have to stand with them because no one else has stood with me. So we have this group. The whole world is banded together. This is not just Russia. This is China. China's whole method is staying silent and not taking sides. And so is India. China's method is more manipulative, and they're going to tell you one thing and go another way. And India's method is they're in the middle of everything, and everyone's trying to kill them because they're at the center of the earth. So that is their method. And then the South Americans, to you guys, they're just monkeys jumping around who can't do anything. So what are they going to do? I went down there and bought boy, let me tell you, if you ever go and try to invade frickin' Mexico, their cops have these large assault rifles and large MP5s. I didn't even know MP5 was that large until I seen their cops walking around with them. Their people are severely armed for some sort of conflict to eventually happen. It's not going to turn out well if everyone just keeps pushing around and trying to conquer the rest of the world. It's not going to turn out that well for anyone. And unfortunately, like we pushed here and there, and no one has learned to shut the F up. And we don't need to blame Asians for everything. We don't need to blame Russians. And we don't need to take over Kazakhstan to move on a global front. I've shown you the maps before. Kazakhstan, and I released the videos 8 years ago before the takeover of Kazakhstan. 8 years ago, I was on to this. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. So, the move of the takeover of Kazakhstan was a move towards the Asian and the Russian empire. And there's technically 3 empires right now. There's the Asian, the Russian, and the Western. And the Western is all over the place. So I really hate this term, but I don't know what else to call it because people call it the Western. So I have to call it that. But every time I say this word, I'm going to have to clarify. I don't believe that the word Western is correct at all. I don't believe that mind games, and I'm a master of literacy. I don't believe that any of this has convinced my mind of anything. West is this thing that has consumed half the globe, and maybe other places have done that too. But I'm more worried about where I'm from and what my people do. That's what I do. You know, I try to stick my nose in my own business rather than someone else's. And so I've seen the business. And right now we have this thing going on. This whole shit. And I'm telling you, they're shutting off these other people's information. They shut off China like 2 years ago, and now they shut off Russia. They shut off Russia today. Any sort of opposition. And I'm willing to place a little bet, maybe only a $20 bet here. You guys can all collect $20 if I'm wrong. But I think they've shut down Russian media because they are going to want to recruit you into a military strike against these people. And on top of that, I think they're going to draft you as well, because they're going to have to. If they continue with the same propaganda, the same direct line, this is a draft they're leading to. It's not just military recruitment. They're hyping you up for war, and they're going to draft. And these other people have decided to fight back. And where is this going to lead? If everyone buys into this, and you can't even... Is it even your fault if you cannot hear a second opinion on what's going on in the world right now? I cannot blame you. Unfortunately, like, I have to try to contain myself and contain my rage, and not blame you if you do not know a second opinion. They've been erasing me for like 8 years, and now they're erasing the rest of the world, and they're trying to isolate you. And I assume that right now they're trying to isolate people into military recruitment, and then they're going to force a draft. Because the BRICS nation, every nation in the world has teamed up against this Western empire because they've seen it try to conquer everyone on the planet. They've killed off at least 2 races. The black people have somehow survived. And by the grace of God, they're alive inside the empire. But somehow they think they're part of the empire now. I don't know if that's like a trick they're playing upon people, or they really think they're part of this nation. I would say that Barack Obama did a good job. Barack, 12th century BC ruler of Israel, Barak Ehud, the previous prime minister of Israel. But Barack Obama has brainwashed people to some extent that they're part of a great thing going on here, where they've been brought here as slaves, and now they've built it up and become famous people. And even some of my people have been genocided. Some of my people have been enslaved. The Irish have been enslaved. The Native Americans have been genocided. The Irish, obviously, they probably think they're the West. And I really hate this word, the West. Every time I say that, I just want to puke, man. But what do you guys think? Like, this is getting out to like 36, 56 people these days. And this is my fault, because when I started to see the good lords of the world, I became very pissed at everything I've seen on this planet, and understanding there's something around us controlling it and allowing it here. But I'm trying to cut back. I'm really trying to cut back, y'all. But what do you guys think? The Russians are this evil group? You guys think that Chinese, who are staying in silence, they've always stayed in silence. This is Sun Tzu, Art of War. Read Sun Tzu's Art of War 100 times if you have to. They are going to be in silence when they are not in silence. They are going to act weak when they are not weak. They are going to act strong if they are not strong. And they have not ever acted strong. So, I don't ever think they are not strong. And I don't ever think God, the lords who run this world, who I've met, many of these beings around us, I don't think that they're going to let things happen. If there was 12 tribes of Israel, 12 races, I believe that this is what this parable means. There's 12 races upon the earth. If 4 have been freaking erased, then what is the Lord Yahweh going to do to protect the other 7 from, or the other 6 from the 2 left who were trying to kill the other 6? Okay? Think about this. I know none of you Christians, I've talked to a lot of you, you've not met these other lords. You have not met the people amongst us. You do not understand they exist. And I pray you do not meet them, because it becomes a terrifying world when you realize that something else is going on here. It just, oh boy, that's what's happened to me. If you want to know what's happened to me, becoming terrified. I'm not terrified of dinosaurs or monsters or anything. I become terrified of seeing other beings amongst us who have clearly identified themselves as something else, and shown through. They didn't have to identify themselves, but they did. But they shown through intellect and ability that they were something else. I kind of don't wish that upon any Christian or anything like that. Or any other person ever experiencing this, because man, this has been an exciting nightmare, hell fucking ride. Oh boy, you better have prepared a long time for some nightmare stuff if you want to enter this nightmare called reality, the real reality, not the earth you live in. But I want to know, what do other people think is really going on? Right now, your media is completely censored. It's all censored. They're isolating Russia today. They're isolating any Russian news. They just conquered Kazakhstan, and they praised Kazakhstan a month before they defamed Putin for attacking Ukraine. And Kazakhstan, look on the map, tell me I'm wrong, Kazakhstan and Ukraine are right close to each other. And like I said 8 years ago in the documentary, Kazakhstan is an important battle point. So we have this group moving in. Who knows who they are? Let's say it's Casper the Ghost. Casper the Ghost is moving in on Russia. And Russia is trying to secure a defensive base against Casper the Ghost. Okay? So let's act with that. This is the most logical thing going on. And I released these videos 8 years ago or something. 6, 4, 8. It doesn't matter. When Sacha Baron Cohen made his videos, what were those called? Borat. And then he made another Borat. He's insulting these nations. And then all of a sudden these nations, their leaders and their police were all killed. And I'm not the biggest fan of police. As you guys know, if you've been watching for over 10 years or following me my whole life, even before that, I'm not the biggest fan of police. So go ahead and kill a few, please. They don't need to arrest you for weed. Go ahead. Chop a few other heads off. But the whole takeover there was praised by the West, which is this whole global conglomeration of nations who use the word West as if you're too stupid to figure out which direction north, west, east, and south is. And let's go from there. If you can't figure out that the West is this direction, and north is this direction, and south is this direction, and east is this direction, and this group that calls themselves the West, if you cannot figure out that the West is this direction, and these other groups claiming to be West are not actually West, then we've lost communication. These are basic skills learned as a child, first grader, second grader. I don't know where I learned things. I was gifted with knowledge at birth. But I would assume by third or fourth grade, everyone had learned west is this way, north is this way, south is this way, east is this way. So let's start this entire learning thing here. And maybe I'll make a whole new video on this where the directions of west, north, south, and east are, and why a group who is all over is called the West, when we know up and down and left and right, they claim they're left, but they're all over. They claim they're the right, but they're all over. How does that work? Let's start with this. If any of this makes any sense, let's start with this. West is this direction, north is this direction, south is this direction, and east would be this direction. So let's start here, and let's start figuring out the placement. Let's look at a map, a geometry map, a globe. They call it the globe, whether you think it's a flat earth or not. Let's start with this, and let's find out what West means. West means USA. West doesn't mean Australia. Australia is far to the east. Okay? West does not mean South Africa. South Africa is far to the south. It's pretty much as far as you can get to the south. And England is pretty much north. Canada is pretty much north. So if you think anything I've said is nonsense, if you think everything I've said is nonsense, let's study the basic north, east, south, west, the compass, which the science the people on this earth worship has told us exists.